Good evening, one and all present here. I am Kashish from Clernet, serving as the allocated session assistant to ensure a seamless experience. Clernet is India's most trusted and widely used digital platform, offering a multitude of enriching services exclusively for doctors. It is with great pride that Clernet is elated to be chosen as the digital partner for this event, organized by IMA JDN Andhra Pradesh. So today's focus would be let food be the medicine. And let's begin today's session, for which I would like to invite Kalyani ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, hello everyone. This is Dr. Kalyani, the current National Council member of IMA JDN Andhra Pradesh, and my warm greetings to IMA National President Dr. R.V. Ashokan sir, immediate past President Dr. Sharad Agarwal sir, Honorary Secretary General Dr. Anil Kumar Naik sir, IMA JDN National Chairman Abul Hassan sir, IMA AP State President Dr. J.C. Naidu sir, HSG AP State Dr. Fanidar sir, IMA JDN AP Chairman Dr. Kiran sir and State Convener Dr. Simhachalam sir. Indian Medical Association is the largest representing voluntary organization of doctors of modern medicine. Every year, there are about 50,000 fresh medical graduates joining the medical profession with already existing 9 lakh practicing doctors in our country. So there is a need to engage, unite, and stand for the young medical graduates. Hence, IMA has taken initiative to expand itself into a wing called IMA Junior Doctor Network, where the junior doctors below 35 years of age are represented, supported, and backed up. IMA JDN Andhra Pradesh is one of the active state branches of IMA JDN in the lines to support and stand for young junior doctors of Andhra Pradesh. I am honored once again to welcome you all to the webinar where we have Dr. Amrita Yanamandra ma'am to discuss the powerful impact that food can have on our health and well-being. Dr. Amrita Yanamandra ma'am is a certified lifestyle medicine consultant and a health coach at European Lifestyle Medicine Organization. She is a certified CBT practitioner and certified in the management of diabetes from Royal College of Physicians, UK. She is practicing as a senior anesthesiologist and lifestyle medicine consultant, and it's a privilege to have you on this National Day of Anesthesia, ma'am. Dr. Amrita has been affiliated from Royal College of Anesthetists of UK, Indian Society of Lifestyle Medicine, and Indian Society of Anesthesiologists. She is the chairperson of Indian Society of Lifestyle Medicine, Health Programs, Publicity, and Promotions Committee. She is the ambassador and president of Webinar Committee of Physicians Association for Nutrition India. She is immensely involved in working with various organizations to spread awareness and promote healthy lifestyle for prevention and reversal of non-communicable diseases. As Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, famously said, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food." This quote underscores the importance of the link between our diet, and our overall health. The food choices we make on a daily basis can either nourish and heal our bodies or contribute to the development of chronic illnesses and diseases. I am very much excited for the enlightening webinar to learn about the connection between food and health and how we can make more informed choices to support our well-being. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction, Dr. Kalyani. And a very big thank you to IMA Junior Doctors Network Andhra Pradesh organizing team for inviting me to be the guest speaker for our webinar today. As we celebrate World Food Day today, it is a great pleasure for me to be talking to the doctors about good food. And as an ambassador of PAN, which stands for Physicians Association for Nutrition, it is an opportunity to create awareness, to spread the word about evidence-based nutrition through this webinar. So I again thank you once again for giving me this opportunity. Shall I start sharing the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm just going to briefly mention about Physicians Association for Nutrition, which is PAN. It is a global NGO which is on a mission to eliminate diet-related deaths by making evidence-based nutrition a core part of the healthcare system. And it aims to educate, empower, and engage the healthcare professionals on evidence-based nutrition intervention, develop resources and tools to facilitate it, and also integrate it into medical education. It plans to be the advisory to industry bodies and policymakers on plant-based nutrition and create public awareness. And under the leadership of Dr. Rajina Shaheen, who's the medical director of PAN India, we have conducted a lot of activities all over India. And these are some of the ways in which junior doctors or any doctor for that matter can associate themselves with PAN India. So those who are passionate about nutrition, about spreading the awareness, or about just getting to know more about nutrition and its benefits can certainly join this organization. So why are we doctors talking about nutrition today? We are generally trained. Our training consists mainly of diagnosing the disease and treating it with medicines. And we often tend to miss the important part, which is the lifestyle or the behavioral changes. And the burden of NCDs globally is very high. And the non-communicable diseases are generally chronic diseases with slow progression, and as a result are of a combination of genetic, environmental, physiological, and behavioral factors. And they're responsible for about 71% of the global deaths per year. 1 in 4 Indians has a risk of dying from an NCD before they reach the age of 70. And consumption of highly processed, high-fat, sugar, salt foods leads to micronutrient deficiencies and obesity. In India, about 56% of the total disease burden is due to unhealthy diets, and abdominal obesity is prevalent in 53% of urban and 90% of rural adults. And that's a very scary statistics. There was an article recently in the newspaper where in one of the states of India, they had surveyed about 500 doctors, and about 20% of the doctors were obese, 53% of them had diabetes, and about 24% had high blood pressure. And the most common factor is stress, as we all know, as we doctors know, that it's a very stressful lifestyle that we lead. And what can we do about this? So if we want to lead a healthy lifestyle, we have to include these are the pillars of healthy lifestyle or lifestyle medicine: nutrition, physical activity, stress management, sleep, social connections, and avoiding substances like cigarettes, alcohol, and drugs. And a healthy diet along with physical activity can significantly reduce the risk of NCDs and reduce the number of premature deaths. It can also stop the progression of the disease if you already have the disease. It can also reverse certain diseases like type 2 diabetes. Now, as an ambassador of PAN, PAN advocates whole food plant-based diet, and I'm going to predominantly talk about that today in my talk. So what do you mean by whole food plant-based diet? It is based on the following principles. It is natural, whole, as in very minimally refined or not refined foods. It is plant-based, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, and free of animal products like eggs, milk, or honey, so not consuming these products. And it has been shown in multiple studies to improve the health and longevity and reduce the risk of non-communicable diseases. Indian Council of Medical Research and National Institute of Nutrition have recently updated their dietary guidelines for Indians. They were updated, I think, in May this year. And they have the concept of my plate for the day. And as you can see here, this is how your plate, your meal plate should look like. So vegetables, fruits, green leafy vegetables, roots and tubers should make up about half of this plate. And the other major portion should be whole grains in the form of millets or rice or wheat. They recommend that about 40% of this grain part of the plate should be millets. And that should provide roughly around 45 to 55% of the energy requirement for the day. The other major portion, as we can see, is proteins. You can include protein sources like pulses, nuts, and seeds, and that will roughly provide about 15% of the energy requirement for the day. And the rest of the plate should be nuts and seeds with minimal use of healthy fats and oils. Now, we all know that about the macronutrients and the micronutrients. So 3 major macronutrients are carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And I'm just going to briefly talk about them. So carbohydrates, the major sources are cereals, millets, fruits and vegetables, pulses, lentils, beans and peas, nuts and seeds. They provide about 4 kilocalories per gram of energy, and they can be roughly divided into simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates, with glucose, fructose, lactose and sucrose being simple carbohydrates. They're easily digestible and will cause a spike in the blood sugar. Table sugar is sucrose, and lactose is the sugar that is present in milk. Then there are complex carbohydrates, which are starches and fiber, and they are fruits and vegetables, whole grains, pulses, nuts, and seeds. Now, even if you do not remember anything from this talk today, I just want you to remember this slide. This is the star slide, because vegetables and fruit consumption is extremely important for good health. And often I see patients who do not consume any fruits at all, or do not consume any vegetables in the form of salads in their daily meals. So vegetables and fruits, they're rich in nutrients, phytonutrients, and fiber. They're a source of prebiotics, which is the food for the gut microbiome. So we all know the probiotics are the gut microbiomes, and the prebiotics are the food on which the gut microbiomes feed. So the variety of food that you can eat, that will enhance the gut microbial diversity. It will enhance the immunity. And most vegetables are very low calories. Now, if you look at this, if they're less than 20 kilocalories per 100 gram of raw vegetables, say you have half a kg of salad, that will just give you 100 calories. So that is very low calories. And therefore, when you are on a whole food plant-based diet, we generally don't bother to count the calories, because you will consume low calories. These vegetables, if you have it in form of salads, do not give you more calories, but they give you all the micronutrients, the phytonutrients, and the fiber. So it is a very good diet for someone who wants to lose weight as well, because you're consuming less calories. The recommendation is about 500 grams per day, 400 grams of vegetables, and 100 grams of fruits per day. And it's best to eat fresh, locally grown, and seasonal vegetables and fruits. Again, fiber, extremely important, continuation of the fruits and vegetables slide as such. Fiber is a complex carbohydrate. And what do we mean by that? It's a non-digestible part. We must have heard of cellulose and pectin of the plant-based food. So this part does not get digested in the stomach, and it then goes on to the intestine, and that is where it acts mainly. It increases the satiety value. It fosters a diverse and happy gut microbiome. So the different colored fruits and vegetables that we eat will diversify our gut microbiome, and that will result in better health for us. It reduces glucose spikes, improves insulin sensitivity, balances cholesterol, and it also promotes regular bowel movements. The daily requirement is about 25 to 35 grams per day. Now, cooking or boiling or frying will generally lead to the degradation of fiber as such. So it is best to have it in the forms of salads and raw fruits. Sugar, called by any other name, will still be sugar. You take any packet of food item and it will have sugar, most probably. Any form of processed and ultra-processed food will have sugar and salt. And now the manufacturing companies are trying a very smart gimmick. When they say no sugar, they mean there is no white sugar, but all these are forms of sugar. And this is not an exhaustive list. There are more names to this. So essentially, they're all different types of sugar. So we shouldn't get fooled when we read on the packet, no sugar, they probably mean there's no white sugar, but there is at least some form of sugar. Very few products will have no sugar. Processed food will not have no sugar. So we have to be mindful about this. Coming to proteins, proteins is one of the most hyped macronutrient, I think, because generally people think carbs are bad, fats are bad, and everybody wants to build muscle, especially young men, young boys, and they think protein is the most important. It is an important macro ingredient, but to get protein, most people are now um, taking supplements and protein powders. So protein is a primary structural and functional component of the cell, mainly present in the muscle, bone, cartilage, skin. It is composed of 20 amino acids. 9 of these amino acids are essential. That means they cannot be formed in the body. They have to be obtained from the diet. And proteins provide 4 kilocalories per gram, just like carbohydrates. And a combination of cereals, millets, and pulses will provide most amino acids. So there is the myth about protein where we think that if we are eating a predominantly vegetarian diet, that we will be deficit in protein, that we will not get enough proteins. And that's how people tend to then go for supplements and protein powders. But if you think about it as a whole meal, nobody eats only a dal, for example, or just the rice. So when we eat, we have to look at a whole meal. We have to look at our whole plate and what we include in that plate. And here, for example, if you look at it, grains have low levels of lysine and more of methionine. And the reverse is true for pulses. So when you make a combination of the cereals, millets, and pulses, when you combine it together, when you eat, say, for example, dal with rice, you are getting all the essential amino acids that are needed for your growth. So that is the trick, or that is the way to eat food, as a combination of different food items. Plus, every food, though we say predominantly protein content, or we say, when we think about wheat or rice as a predominantly carb, they do have proteins, they do have fats. So all food items have different macronutrients and different proportions, but most of them will have all the macronutrients. Predominantly maybe a particular one, but they will have a little bit of fats and a little bit of carbohydrates and a little bit of protein, if at all. The recommended dietary allowance is 0.83 protein per kg per day for healthy men and women. Of course, this may change. There will be different recommendations for children, for pregnant women, for elderly people. They may need more protein because of muscle loss. But this is generally for healthy men and women. Coming to fats, the main visible sources of fats are vegetable oils. When we think about it, ghee, butter, that's what comes to our mind. But again, as I said, all the food items will have some amount of fat. So invisible sources include animal foods, nuts and seeds, beans, vegetables. And fats will provide about 9 kilocalories per gram of energy. So carbohydrates and proteins provide 4 kilocalories per gram, and fats provide 9 kilocalories per gram. And generally, the dietary fats can be divided into saturated and unsaturated fats. So saturated fats are predominantly found in coconut oil, ghee, butter, meat, and milk products. And they increase the cholesterol level, inflammation, reduce the insulin sensitivity, and enhance thrombogenicity, increasing the risk of cardiovascular disease. So it is best to avoid the saturated fats and hydrogenated vegetable oils. So vegetable oils, when they are sort of processed to hydrogenate them, so to solidify, so essentially in the liquid form, then they are solidified to increase the shelf value of products. And usually the trans fats are formed, and these are commonly found in bakery products, biscuits, cakes, and what have you. Coming to the unsaturated fatty acids, plant foods do not have cholesterol. They have something called as the plant sterols, which are healthier, but that is not cholesterol, and are good source of monounsaturated fatty acid and polyunsaturated fatty acid. And most of this MUFA and PUFA can be obtained from nuts and seeds. So vegetable oils, which are seed oils, which are derived from this nuts and seeds, will have high quantities of this. So MUFA is also is found in nuts, seeds, vegetable oils, avocados, and olives. And PUFAs are essential fatty acids, again, not synthesized in the body, therefore they are essential. It is essential to get them from our diet. And omega-6 and omega-3 are the two types of PUFAs. Omega-3 is found in walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds, soybean, fenugreek, mustard, leafy vegetables, fatty fish, and microalgae. And 6 is found in nuts, seeds, oils, olives. And again, in most will have a combination of the two. The daily requirement for PUFA is omega-3, 2.2 grams, and omega-6, 6.6 grams. So again, it is very important. If you look at this recommendation, which is again from the ICMR NIN guidelines, dietary guidelines for Indians, the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is 3:1 here. And that is sort of the healthy ratio. So different studies quote different health ratios, but essentially what is important is that the omega-3, which has an anti-inflammatory properties, and omega-6 is also needed for the body, but higher amounts of omega-6 as compared to the omega-3 can cause inflammation in the body. So it is very important to maintain a healthy ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. Now, this gives us a good idea about the different types of fat that are present in the common oils that we use, ghee and coconut and the rest of the oils that we use. So if you look at it, the ghee and coconut oil, they both contain very high amount of saturated fatty acids. And that's not good at all. So MUFA is the heart protective the oil, the fatty acid, and so is omega-3. And the different levels are seen here in the chart. So again, if you look at sunflower oil and safflower oil, which quite a few people use, there is very high amount of omega-6 fatty acids. So unless you have other sources of omega-3 in your diet, you are consuming a lot of omega-6 just because you're consuming, you're using sunflower, safflower oil. So it is very important to also, when you're using oils, to use different oils or to have 2 or 3 different oils for cooking. Vitamins and minerals, again, they are very important for health in general, and that micronutrient deficiency is very common in India and worldwide. And so we have to get these from different sources of food. And again, fruits and vegetables will provide, a variety of fruits and vegetables when you eat will provide a good amount of all these vitamins and minerals. So we have the water-soluble ones, which is B and C. They're not stored in the body and they're destroyed by heat, cooking, and processing. So again, it is extremely important to have fruits, raw fruits, and have vegetables in the form of salads, because cooking or processing will destroy the vitamins. So you may think, oh, I am taking some food which is rich in this, but if it's very cooked, then the vitamin might have been destroyed. The fat-soluble ones are A, D, E, K. And the minerals, this is just example, there are more, but the common ones are sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, zinc, iron, iodine, etc. And they're all required for various functions. They perform various functions in the body. They're important for maintenance and integrity of all the organs, nerve cell transmission, acid-base balance, enzyme, and hormone activity. These are some of the micronutrient contents of certain foods, again derived from ICMR NIN guidelines. I would highly recommend these guidelines as they're very extensive. They cover all the age groups. They cover all the macro and the micronutrients, and it's a very handy to look through for whatever references you need. Now, just talking a little bit about gut microbiome, that's the latest buzzword in the health and lifestyle sort of circles. It is an ecosystem of commensal symbiotic and pathogenic microorganisms, and they're involved in maintaining the human metabolism, the nutrition, physiology, immune function, and even mental health. And the imbalance in the normal gut microbiota has been linked to various gastrointestinal diseases, various systemic manifestations of diseases like obesity and type 2 diabetes. And we all know that there is a gut-brain axis, which is a bidirectional neurohormonal communication system, and that can influence the development of it influences the mental health and can lead to development of anxiety and depression if there is an imbalance in the microbiota. This is a slide which shows the foods linked to cancer. And as we can see here, there's grouping of carcinogens. So processed meat is a group 1 carcinogen. That means there is evidence that having processed meat like salami or sausages can cause cancer. Red meat is group 2, which is group 2A, which is probably causing cancer. So red meat is pork, beef, lamb, and then there are others as well. And other foods and drinks which can be linked to cancer are ultra-processed foods and ultra-processed drinks, sugary beverages, and any food item which is very high in sugar and saturated fatty acid. So that can lead to inflammation, and that can lead to obesity and cancer. Now, alcohol is group 1 carcinogen as well. And the WHO statement, which was released some time back and it's come in the Lancet Public Health, is that there is no safe amount that does not affect health. There is no safe amount of alcohol that does not affect health. That means even a small amount of alcohol can have adverse effect on our health. And along with tobacco, radiation, asbestos, alcohol is a grade 1 or a group 1 carcinogen. So what are the do's and don'ts of nutrition? So I was told to talk about role of nutrition for doctors in their personal life. So for doctors as well, not just so that they can advise patient, but also for doctors themselves to have a healthy lifestyle. And these are my sort of practical tips, if I may say. So eating a variety of fruits and vegetables in the form of salads, soups, whichever way can be eaten with every meal. And the fat requirement is met generally with balanced diet of pulses, beans, nuts, and seeds. So essentially, if you eat a healthy diet, you do not need to add an extra oil in your food for that matter. But Indian food is we love our food. Indians are foodies and we love our food. And it is quite difficult in most households to not use oil for cooking. But we have to minimize, if we cannot avoid, have to minimize the use of cooking oils. And can be methods such as steaming, grilling, boiling, or sauteing can be used instead of frying. And better to avoid the refined oils and try the cold press oils or oil seeds, nuts or nuts paste. Avoiding processed foods and bakery foods, so they contain trans fats. Combining grains with pulses will improve the quality of the protein. So it's not just about the quantity of the protein that we consume, but also the quality of the protein is important. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're mixing grains and pulses and you're having different varieties of grains and pulses, you will get a good amount of protein and good quality of protein. Prolonged intake of protein supplements can adversely affect health. So large amounts of protein supplements that so many men are taking these days can adversely affect health. It can lead to kidney problems, liver problems, and also bone resorption. I call this there is an art of eating. Eating is an art, just like cooking is an art. Eating is an art as well. And what can we do to be able to enjoy the food and yet have certain limitations or eat it in a healthier way? So limiting portion size is very important. The way sometimes to do it is that not to take a whole big dinner plate. Use the smaller plate and put all whatever you want to eat on the plate and not go for a second serving. So that way, that is one of the ways of limiting portion sizes. Mindful eating is extremely important. I think I see most of the people are on their phones while eating, or they're watching the television while eating. And we are not really enjoying the food. We do not get the natural normal cues that we might get that we are full, because we are so busy in our phones that we miss those natural cues and we keep eating. So mindful eating is an extremely important way to limit the food that we're eating and to actually enjoy the food. Hara Hachibu is a Confucian kind of philosophy, which says that you have to stop eating when you're 80% full. So, most people think ped bhar ke khana hai. So it's like we have to eat until we're full. And it's okay for some occasions, or when you eat out, or for some, special occasions. But every day you don't have to eat pet bhar ke. You have to stop eating when you're about 80% full. And that's the way to limit the amount of food that you eat. Avoid late night snacking again. You're watching a serial, Netflix on the television, and most people will just open a pack of chips or have popcorn, and it's just a natural tendency, isn't it? We don't feel like we've enjoyed the cinema if we haven't opened a pack of popcorn or had a Coke. So all those things should be really avoided. Avoiding again sugary beverages and alcohol. Salt intake should be restricted to about 2.5 grams of sodium per day, which is equivalent to about 1 teaspoon of common salt. So if there are 4 people in a household using 4 teaspoons throughout the day for the entire day's cooking, that is how it should be worked out. Again, including spices and herbs. Now, dry spices and herbs have a very high content of micronutrients. And all of these, and there are some more, I haven't listed all of them here, but turmeric, ginger, cumin, mustard seeds, all of these and all the other herbs are very high in micronutrients and phytonutrients and have extremely high health benefits, and we should include all of those. So if you have to, that also reduces the amount of salt that you want to add. With the spices and the herbs, you can reduce the amount of salt or table salt used in cooking. Again, a very important part is reading the food labels. So as I said, there are marketing gimmicks, and you don't go just on what is on the front of the package. Read the label at the back and check the information for the ingredients, the calories, added sugars, and additives. And the way to do it is, if the longer the list of ingredients, the more processed the food. So if there are 10 ingredients versus 3 ingredients, and the 10 is more processed than the one with the 3 ingredients. And also the first 3 or 4 ingredients, look at the first 3 or 4 ingredients. And if they are maida, sugar, salt, or vanaspati, or one of those vegetable oils or something like that, then that food is bad for you. That is processed food. So looking at the ingredient list and the additives is extremely important. And I think you should educate your patients also on this, because we're eating more and more processed food. Children are eating ultra processed and processed foods all the time, and it is extremely important to read what is in the packet. So these are some of the examples of healthy plates. So if you look at this first plate here, this is like the picture perfect ICMR plate with half plate of vegetables, and then there's the grains and then the pulses here. And similarly, if you see, all of them have some fruits and vegetables, raw salads, and a good portion of beans or dals, which give you a good amount of protein. I'm just going to quickly, I was told to talk about nutrition, but because we all are looking at leading a healthy lifestyle, I'm just going to quickly run through a few slides on physical activity, sleep, and stress. So a structured physical activity is really important for all of us, and it can be in the form of aerobic, strength training, yoga, Tai Chi, whatever it is that you like, swimming, and going to the gym. Any form of physical activity, structured physical activity is important. And to maintain a healthy weight, we need about 150 minutes of moderate physical activity per week. And this can be divided into bits and pieces. Like you can do 30 minutes of physical activity for 5 days a week, or you can work around your busy schedule and try and get these many minutes of physical activity a week. If you want to lose weight, then you have to do a bit more, which is 250 minutes per week. And it should be moderate intensity activity, which will raise your heart rate and make you breathe faster. And this is the talk test, which, if you have to advise the patient as to what should be the intensity, that is what you have to tell them. Sleep is again an extremely important pillar of lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, and often overlooked. And we all need about 7 to 8 hours. Adults need about 7 to 8 hours of good sleep. And as doctors, we are perennially sleep deprived. We have been sleep deprived since we entered the medical school with exams and practicals and what have you. And then when you become doctors, we have on calls and it just never ends. So it is extremely important to try and get 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep. And it is extremely important for rest and repair function of the body, for mood, for alertness, and for better work performance. And children who are sleep deprived, it can affect their attention span, memory recall, and learning. So it's extremely important. Again, children are spending more and more time on their mobile phones and devices and getting less amount of quality sleep. And some of the lifestyle changes which we can do for sound sleep are avoiding fatty, spicy, and sugary foods. Generally avoid it, but yes, avoid them definitely in the night, and restrict the use of coffee, caffeine 6 hours before bedtime. And some foods which can improve the sleep are almonds, walnuts, kiwi, bananas, oats, chamomile tea. Exercising regularly, but not just before bedtime. And alcohol obviously should be avoided completely, but those who have alcohol, they should not take it to 4 hours before bedtime. And meditation and other stress relieving measures will help in getting better sleep. Also, very important to shut down the devices at least an hour or two before the bedtime. Very difficult to do it, but yes, that has to be done. Stress management, stress, as I said in this recent survey, which we did, stress was the most common factor which led to various diseases amongst doctors. And it can cause changes in the blood pressure regulation, immunity, and gut function. And it leads to poor dietary choices, inactivity, disturbed sleep. And so it's all sort of interlinked. Everything is interlinked: your stress, your sleep, physical activity, what food you eat. And a whole food plant-based diet has been shown to positively influence the brain function because it improves the gut microbiota, it makes it more healthier, and it has a positive impact on your brain. Physical activity, again, releases happy hormones, and there are more benefits from physical activity. Releases the stress, the adrenaline, reduces the cortisol levels, and makes you feel happier. Good quality sleep, social connections, and some mind body practices like, which will slow down the heart rate and the blood pressure, like mindfulness, yoga, box breathing, meditation, whatever you can do. Now, this is, I've just put this slide here because I think this is a very simple technique. Deep breathing exercises are simple techniques where when you're in the sympathetic overdrive, when you're anxious, when you're stressed, and your heart is beating faster, it's nice to calm down. And this is a way of sort of getting your parasympathetic nervous system in and slowing down your heart rate and calming your mind down. So this is called as the box breathing, wherein you breathe for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and you hold again for 4 seconds. There is the 4-7-8 type of breathing. There are various different types of deep breathing techniques, and they do help to calm down. So this is very quick fix when you're sort of anxious, maybe just before the exam, or even in the exam where you were very anxious, you can't remember something. Just calms yourself down. This calms your systems down and makes it easier for you to think. So again, for us doctors, where we have really busy schedules, busy lives, we may not be able to suddenly change our lifestyle completely. But what is important is to take small baby steps. And I would request everyone to go back and make this SMART goals, which are small goals. And what does SMART stand for? It's an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic or relevant, and time-bound goals. So these are clear, simple goals which are attainable and which should be completed in the time you set aside. And that, having this sort of a clarity in your goal setting, gives you the motivation to go ahead and do it. And it gives you the focus that you need to succeed in the goal. So say, for example, I set the SMART goal for physical activity, and I have decided, I decide today, I have decided that for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to do brisk walking every day for 30 minutes or 5 days a week for 30 minutes at 8 o'clock in the morning. So this is a very specific goal that I set for myself. I can measure it, and it is achievable for me. And it is very relevant to the goal, to my main goal, which is maybe to lose weight or be a healthier version of myself. And it is, I have set it for 2 weeks. I'm going to assess myself in 2 weeks. And if I have achieved that, I'm going to push myself a little bit more and set another goal. So this is the way to actually do it. And it can include, it can be for food as well. Somebody who doesn't eat fruits, for example, you set up a goal and say, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to eat at least 1 fruit a day, or maybe 2 fruits a day. And when you've achieved that goal, you move on and you slowly increase, you set more goals or more difficult goals once you've achieved the smaller ones. So in summary, choose a variety of fruits and vegetables, including leafy greens. Again, even for doctors who are staying in the hostel or who are staying away from the home, this is very easily doable. All you have, you do not even need a fridge to keep certain fruits and vegetables. So you can have a cucumber and a carrot, and you can keep a banana and an apple or an orange. And it's very easy. They don't need any cooking. They are very low maintenance if you think about it. So it's very easy for doctors to actually just grab a fruit on the way, or just grab it quickly when they have a few minutes break. Again, eating a combination of whole grains, millets, and pulses, and daily consumption of nuts and seeds. Again, nuts and seeds, just a handful of nuts and seeds, almonds and walnuts, some sunflower and pumpkin seeds. You can just keep it in your bag. You can just eat it in a break, or it's very, very easy to get all the healthy fats, the protein, the fiber from these foods, and avoid high fatty, sugary, salty foods, ultra processed foods. Adequate hydration. Again, most of us actually get so busy during the day that we forget to drink water. So at least 2 liters of water per day. Exposure to sunlight. Again, vitamin D. For vitamin D formation, it's important to expose our bodies to morning sunlight, and even 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight for about 3 to 4 days a week should be sufficient to make our bodies form the vitamin D for us. And develop a sustainable eating habit. Do not go for yo-yo diets, for keto diets, or watermelon diet, or whatever that there is, because then they are not sustainable. Those you have to form. So that's why the SMART goal is very important. You form newer habits which are sustainable and which you can we can sustain for a longer time. Exercise regularly, get adequate sound sleep, and manage your stress well. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Seriously, ma'am, it is a very informative session, and I would like to express my deepest appreciation for sharing your knowledge and expertise on the topic. And your presentation was very much insightful and thought-provoking and inspiring with the colorful images that you have included, and had undoubtedly left a lasting impact on all the young doctors. And thank you once again, ma'am. It has been really a very truly invaluable, and Indian Medical Association looks forward to continuing this important dialogue on the role of food in health in the future with you.
Sure.
And also thank you, ClearNet, for providing us platform. And now I would like to request Dr. Shweta to give the vote of thanks.
Okay, Kalyani. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the national team and the state team, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to the speaker and attendees for joining us today for this insightful webinar on the theme, Let Food Be Thai Medicine. We are truly grateful for the valuable knowledge and expertise shared by ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Clonet is really glad to have all these brilliant people together in this session today. Thank you so much for extending us the opportunity to host this session, and I hope you all had a seamless experience. With your dear permission, I'm closing the session today and looking forward to hosting you again. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.